I mainly started drawing like a lot more early of elementary school, probably around K5. My reason for starting to draw was mainly a way to pass time. I never really had much of anything or anyone to play with, but drawing just seemed the funner aspect. It was a way to get messy, but not really have to clean up much afterwards. I have tried making different media or like using different mediums for certain characters, but not necessarily for their traits, just more of a way to practice. Like, oh, is it easier for me to draw this character in traditional or digital, or is it better for me to try to paint it, color it? Like, what way does it look better for me to personally do it? Sometimes I do think, or like at least once I've actually thought of it, like trying to make characters into different mediums and then add them into a single panel, but I haven't actually tried that. It's more difficult to add different pictures, different coloring, all that stuff. It's a whole different process. Whenever I read a new comic, a new book, or watch a new show, I like to think of possible things that they could do, different characters that could probably be in it or be unincluded, basically. And so the characters are either based off of certain characteristics or traits that I like about other certain characters that I've read about or watched, basically. Usually it's with the closing. If I add certain details or of like specific outfits I personally like to wear, it's more of, oh, like I have this outfit in my and it looks good on this character. Maybe I can try it on one day in real life. But other things are more like hair. I like to add longer length to see, you know, like how it is with the clothing. I like to add certain, types of hairstyles that I add for myself, and then I like to add them onto or draw them onto certain characters to see if it would look good with them or if it's just the personal preference. The process for creating a character for me is more of just going with it. I'll usually, if I do have certain traits, certain parts of their personality already planned out, I tend to look at would they do something specific with their hair. Like if they are a party person, would they like for the way if they're like a party person but they're also moody, would they actually care about their hair a lot to the point to let it grow? Or would they just cut it short so it's easier to maintain? Um, it also depends on, mainly for me, their eye shapes. So, for example, like my process tends to, just go based off of the traits, but also go based off of the way I start to draw the base, the head. I mainly start off with the head, not really the body. The body ends up like just being there afterwards. I don't really know how to explain that. But sometimes when I start drawing a base, for some reason they'll either get a hook nose or they get like siren eyes or doe eyes. Just depending on the way I draw it, I'm like, this hair matches better with their facial features. Or these eyes match better with their hair. Just depends, really. The pros of drawing the characters by myself are mainly being able to change things without feeling bad for telling someone that I don't like this about it. But the cons tend to be actually having to create new characters. So, for example, if you have like 20 plus characters, having to actually have some sort of difference between all of them is really difficult, especially if you are trying to not base them off of characters you've already seen, because that's like a whole thing. And also you wanna like one of the other cons is not being able to see in a different art style. So if you see in a different art style and you try to redraw in your own art style, it's easier to see what do I like about this character or what do I not. But if you just keep repeatedly drawing it in your own art style, it's more difficult because, well, it's like you just redraw the same exact thing instead of having to change something else to fit it in your own personal way. one of the main conflicts basically when beginning a process is actually debating on how to pose a character or where the setting is going to be or what colors you might use. It's more of the posing for me though. If I want someone to be sitting down, how do I want them to sit down? Do I want them to sit down in front of something? Do I want them to not sit in front of something? Do I just want them floating? It's more of also where do I want to start on the page? Do I want to start directly on the page